Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Yahweh, Baha Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Baha Hashem, Kerha Badash. All praises, honor, glory, love, respect, faith, and power, and trust, and all credit to my Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and my Heavenly Big Brother, Yahweh Shah. Thank you so much for what you've done, what you're doing, and what you're going to do. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of GMS, Great Millstone, who I learned from, and all the men scattered all over the world, teaching this truth and none but the truth, and the dang spirit and the power of Yahweh Bashim Al Bashar, trying to put a spiritual bug in you Hebrew Israelites' ears, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and you speckled birds. And was a speckled bird that be a Hebrew Israelite that look like some of the heathen nations, like for example, a Hebrew Israelite that look like a so-called white person, or so-called Chinese person, etc., etc. Got some video lined up about digital ID, ultimately the chip implant, the mark of the beast. I had downloaded this video from the, I think it was the X, Instagram, whatever the hell you call that shit. Because I was going to forget the daggone website or where I got it from, so I went ahead and downloaded it. But this doofus ass, pink hair gremlin, I'm just gonna play this video.
So I'm getting a chip implanted into my brain. There's a study happening in LA and I'm going over there to get this chip implanted in my brain so that I can pay my rent. They're gonna compensate me heavily for my participation and all the data that they retrieve. So you're basically talking to a future robot. I'm so excited.
You're more like missile food or nuclear fuel to the nuclear fire. That's what you are really. And she excited. Fucking dumb nigger. Let's get to this video now.
Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdsson of World Alternative Media here, and we're joined once again by Mark Gonzalez over at First National Bullion, and there is some very interesting news in regards to digital IDs and bank accounts, stuff we've talked about many times before here at World Alternative Media. A lot of this is coming out now as Trump has done an executive order rather, to require banks to collect citizenship information in a process. As Bessent says, Treasury Secretary.
And people will say that Trump he's against this type of stuff. Shit.
Scott Bessent is preparing banks to collect citizenship data. Now, there's already know your customer rules in place, but it does not cover this, and banks have been pushing back against this, and now they're bringing it in. Now, it sounds all good and fine, right? Well, what about all this mass migration? We got to stop it. Okay, they arm and fund terrorists. They arm and fund the cartels. They offer welfare to those that try to run away from those issues. They find the worst possible people, cause demoralization among the masses, and then say, hey, we have a solution. Everyone accept your digital ID if you want to deal with this mass migration problem. It is problem, reaction, solution, repeat, the Hegelian dialectic, just like we're seeing in the UK. In the UK, the government has pushed forward that mandated government digital ID for migrants. They say no one else is mandated to use it. However, if you want to live in life and have a bank account to do everything, you might want to get it. It's this kind of coercion that we're seeing across the board, and they all use mass migration, the left and the right. Biometrics, of course, what we saw with this proposal by the Trump administration for 5 years of social media history to enter the country. On top of that, 10 years of email history, photo metadata, iris scans, biometrics of all kinds. This is happening as we have...
As soon as going to be implantable microchips.
FISA 702 pushed forward, with House approving the reauthorization of warrantless spying powers. This also includes, the facial recognition we're seeing being put up all over the interstate system, AI deciding whether people are suspicious in their driving activities. On top of that, we have, of course, what we saw with social media. That is social credit, and it will be tied to the surveillance network. Well, we can see banks are one of the main ways to get into this system of digital technocratic governance. Of course, Mark and I have talked many times about Basel III in September 2024 being pushed forward. That 63 central banks have utilized Basel III, which means they could do bail-ins on your accounts, just take your money out. We have the United Nations Pact for the Future, which was signed on the same month in September of 2024 by 193 countries that say that they could shut down your bank for things you say on social media and opinions that you express. That also involves a ration system and control of the money in your bank account. The banks are bankrupt. This all just seems like one big bomb waiting to go off, my friends. So we're going to go into this and more. This isn't just about mass migration, my friends. We're all concerned about mass migration. This is much deeper than that. Before we get into this, I urge people to check that link in the description. firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/ has to be that exact link. Don't shorten it. Of course, it is in the background. And we found him at World Alternative right now as well. The whole world is. And both from the left and the right, they both use this migration issue to bring in digital IDs and control over, surveillance with the banking system. People are getting debanked. This is some really sketchy stuff, Mark. It goes to what we have been talking about so much, the technocratic agenda, the Great Reset. It sounds good, and people will accept it under false pretenses. What do you think about this move by the Trump administration and this executive order?
Well, first thing, I'm surprised you don't have more media coverage, or at least alternative media coverage. Try searching this up. There's not a ton of videos done about it. The ones that are talking about it are very short. I mean, it's quite a big deal. And I think you and I, if you go back, and I know I've said this, I think we talked about it on your channel, going back to the mass migration. I saw that for what it was initially, let everybody in, and then, oh, we got an overwhelming problem. Now we have to find a way to sanitize it,
Yeah.
or at least be control of it. And that's going to be through the identification system. So if you look at how many countries actually have the digital ID framework that is there, it's built out, it's active, it's ready to go, whether they stated it's there or not, you got 160 countries. Right. And then you tie this into, even the pact for the future with the bank bail-in regimes. And it kind of all comes together. So this, on the surface, it's targeting the illegal aliens. You can't have a bank account unless you actually have the appropriate documentation, and that's where they're going to get you. So it doesn't matter if you're not an illegal alien. You could be in the U.S. and not aware of what's going on and think, okay, I have nothing to hide. I live here lawfully. I was born in the U.S. I have a birth certificate. I have, my credentials. So it's going to be the type of ID that's accepted. So think of the Real ID in California. The Real ID was pushed back numerous times. Now it's a mandatory thing. It's going to be kind of like that. If you don't have the biometrics ID system, then you will not be awarded your bank account. And it's not just, the debanked, it's the control of the banking system. So give you an example on what I mean by that real quick. Being in precious metals, we deal with clients all over the world. We get wires all the time, store metal, ship it, and there are countless amounts of time, and it's something that is becoming more increasingly noticeable. It hasn't happened, interestingly, in about the last month, but I've had clients that have wanted to send me wires, and the bank that it's coming from, it could be a B of A, Wells, Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo, it doesn't matter. They are putting holes on the wire due to suspected fraud. Do you know the company that you're sending it to? Are they trustworthy? Even as so far as one lady that works with me in San Diego actually had to go to our main convoy location to actually give them our business license. So the banking system is on a thin margin of collapse, and this is worldwide. So one, they don't want to release the funds. Two, they're trying to control where it goes. In a digital structure, when you're sending money by wire to a business, there's different business codes for what that business is involved in. Is it retail, goods and services? Is it financial, right? Are you wiring to pay off automotive? Is it a car? Is it real estate? So there's different codes. I don't know off the top of my head what the precious metal code actually is, but those, you're going to start to see those being flagged. We said it numerous times that this is coming to the U.S. Now, it doesn't mean that it's time to panic. I'm not saying, it's time to panic, but everything that
But it's definitely time to seek Yahweh Shema Shah repent, though. Yep.
we've been talking about, you're starting to see that happen.
Well, Mark, I mean, it's just another example of if they're going after the ability for people to escape the digital system by getting into gold and silver and stuff like this.
And you can't escape this shit. Bro, some fucking precious metal. And then nobody ain't even buying and selling with that shit right now. But anyway, but this is the mind. I mean, nothing wrong with owning gold and silver. But it ain't going to save you through what's coming. Anyway.
Then obviously it's only going to escalate from here. I want to ask you, I have a Bank of America account. I am Canadian. I'm not an American citizen. And I wonder, with all of this, what do you think? Do you expect it to get to the point where they say, either we're going to take your money, or we're going to force you to take the money out of your account, or we're going to make you sign off on this digital ID thing in order to keep it in this American account? Because
Yeah, pretty much.
Myself, I'm worried about, obviously, as we all do, as I tell people to do all the time, I have many preparations in place, of course, but it still concerns me to see how this is rolling out. I'm not a citizen. How long until they start asking me for citizenship information to keep my bank account?
That's a good question. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because this is, in depth as my mind thought about what this goes to. I did not think about that aspect. And that's a really good question. On the surface, knowing that bail-ins are coming and they're going to recapitalize the banking system of each individual country in mass scale,
right,
my gut feeling tells me that eventually your U.S. bank accounts are, if you do not get the appropriate identification, or those funds are going to have to move back to Canada. They have to go back to the country of origin of where you're from, so to speak, to recapitalize that structure. Everybody individually is going to be doing this, even though everything is connected. Each individual government, corporate entity, Vancouver, every province there, San Diego, Puerto, it's all incorporated. So even though it's this global business model, you have these individual sections that have to be recapitalized. I'm going to keep an eye on that. And
But I want to mention,
obviously,
like I had like $45 in my bank account the other day in my U.S. account. I do have Canadian accounts and all that too. But with that said, when I look at people like Nick Fuentes, which people might not like, people might hate Nick Fuentes, it doesn't matter. The U.S. government, through an investigation with the FBI, ended up getting banks, including Bank of America, to shut down his bank account and seized nearly $500,000 from him, and have never given him it back. It's been a couple years, and they basically just said, "Hey, well, that's our money now. Too bad, you don't get it." Well,
We don't even know if that really happened, but they can do that. And that's the power the Smile has. Amalek. That's what he does. Well, his fucking nigger ass, because he owns the banks.
what about the FDIC? What, the bankrupt FDIC? Yeah, it's all just this veneer.
Well, anyway, it's coming down the pipe, and they're going to be freezing everybody's account. Just to be, and starve you people out, cut off the part. Pretty much get people on board with this digital ID shit, ultimately the chip implant. Let me get to the next video. I'm starting to not want the title. I play a little bit of this, but I get a little tired of playing this nigga's video because this nigga thinking there's a way out of the digital ID. There's ways to get away, bypass this shit. Just buy gold and silver, have gold and silver. I'm like, that ain't gonna be the way. It's Yahweh by Shema Rashad that's gonna be the way. Shit.
The headlines today are not isolated events. They are pieces of a pattern, and if you know what to look for, the picture they form should concern every person who values freedom, privacy, and the right to participate in daily life without being tracked, cataloged, or controlled. Let's begin with a technology that most people have never heard of. It's called Ghost Murmur. It is a system currently in development for military applications, capable of detecting a human heartbeat from a distance.
Oh yeah, I heard of that. That's what they said. They had found somebody. They looking for, hey man, Esau got a lot of fucking technology at his disposal. Yep. And he got technology, man. If he can detect somebody's heartbeat, then he can have the technology to stop your heart. Shit, yeah. From a distance. I don't know how far, but yeah.
Not your face,
That's why we need to get the fuck out of here.
not your phone signal, your heartbeat. Using advanced sensors and artificial intelligence, it can locate a living person even when they are hidden, silent, and completely still. Right now, its developers frame it as a life-saving tool, finding downed pilots, locating soldiers behind enemy lines, humanitarian applications, noble purposes. But here's the question you have to ask. When has a technology that powerful ever stayed in its original lane? Think about the trajectory. A life-saving military tool becomes a law enforcement tool. A law enforcement tool becomes an intelligence gathering tool. An intelligence gathering tool becomes a civilian monitoring tool. And each phase, each expansion, feels reasonable at the time. Each phase normalizes the next. The moment you can locate a human being by their biological signature alone, the moment a heartbeat itself can betray your position, anonymity doesn't just become difficult, it becomes physically impossible. The infrastructure of total control has always needed one final piece, a way to find people who refuse to be found. Ghost Murmur may be that piece. In the meantime, in December 2025, dozens of police officers in Edmonton, Alberta, walked their beats wearing body cameras. Body cameras were sold to the public as accountability tools, cameras that watch police on behalf of the people. That was the promise. Edmonton's experiment broke that promise entirely. Those cameras, manufactured by Axon Enterprise and powered by facial recognition technology from a company called Coresight AI, were silently scanning every face within 4 meters of the officer, automatically, whenever the officer pressed record, comparing those faces against a watch list of approximately 7,000 people. No one being scanned was told. No one contested. You could walk past an Edmonton police officer on your way to the grocery store, and your face would be checked against a government database before you reached the end of the block. The cameras that were supposed to watch police were now watching you. Edmonton's own privacy assessment admitted this constitutes, in their words, proactive surveillance. A senior researcher at the University of Toronto's Citizen Lab called it likely the most high-risk surveillance program that he's observed to date in Canada. The accountability tool became the surveillance tool, and the cameras are still there. But Edmonton is not alone. This is happening everywhere, and it's moving from the streets into your living room. In Singapore, as of April 1st, 2026, gamers who bought and downloaded Xbox titles, games they paid for,
So, was it yesterday? I was there talking about PlayStation. Now, there's the Xbox. There's all these games, since even your PC. The login you need, your face scan. Shit.
games sitting on their accounts, are now being told they must prove who they are.
Damn. They must. They must do this shit.
Before they can play them. Microsoft's options: a facial age scan, a copy of your government-issued ID, or authentication through Singapore's National Digital Identity System. The price of accessing games you already own is now a biometric selfie or a
Damn, so you... Fuck this place.
passport upload. Apple requires a national registration identity card or driver's license. Samsung wants your credit card. Google has gone further than all of them, deploying a machine learning model that silently analyzes your search history, your YouTube viewing patterns, and your behavioral data across every Google platform to estimate your age continuously without asking. They call it age estimation. A more honest description: continuous behavioral profiling, repurposed as an identity check, running in the background of everything you do online. And now, an American congresswoman wants to bring the same system to the United States at scale. H.R. 8250, dressed up with the friendly name Parents Decide Act, would require Apple and Google to verify the age of every single person who sets up a device in America. Not just children, everyone, adults included. No opt-out. Your date of birth becomes the entry fee for turning on a phone. So what happens to that data afterward? Well, Congress has handed that question to the FTC to answer within 180 days of passage. The surveillance infrastructure would be built first. The rules for it? Well, that would come later. The bill's own text covers not just phones and tablets, but laptops, gaming consoles, smart TVs, and cars with infotainment systems. Every device, every screen, every interface you use to access the modern world. Identified first, permitted second. And while the devices are being enrolled, the communications have already been compromised. FISA Section 702 is an American law that allows intelligence agencies to collect the communications of foreign targets. It also sweeps up the emails, texts, and phone calls of American citizens, and then allows the FBI to search the database without getting a warrant. Section 702 is expiring, and the push to renew it with 0 reforms attached is now being led by House Speaker Mike Johnson, Senate Chairman Chuck Grassley, and President Trump himself, who posted on Truth Social calling on Republicans to pass a clean extension with no changes. The numbers are not abstract. FBI queries targeting Americans' private data rose 35% in 2025 alone. A federal court ruled in 2025 that the Fourth Amendment requires a warrant before searching Section 702 data for American communications. Congress's response? An 18-month extension, no warrant required, no reforms, and no deadline to get it right, because they've already missed 2 years of the deadline they created for themselves. The agency running more warrantless searches of Americans' data than at any point in history is asking for more time and fewer rules, and it appears that they're going to get it. But if you think this is only about technology, look what's happening in courtrooms and legislatures. In Germany, a proposal is being seriously considered that would allow local authorities, backed by intelligence agencies, to block individuals from purchasing property if they are suspected of holding what the government defines as anti-constitutional views. Not convicted, not charged, not even...
Yep. It's coming down the pipe for you believers of Yahweh Shema Rashad. I mean, whoever speaks out about Esau and his gay ass rulership and Amalek being a baby dick sucking Jewish faggot fucker, hey, it's happening. Seek the Lord, repent, and pray the Lord have mercy on you. Give you the strength to endure.
Even accused of a crime. Suspected. Germany's domestic intelligence service would be authorized to share personal data with municipalities, inserting national security apparatus into the decision of whether a family is allowed to buy a home. The definition of anti-constitutional is not fixed in the bill. It is left open, subject to interpretation, subject to political winds. History tells us exactly where that leads. Meanwhile, in California, the State Assembly Judiciary Committee voted 11-2 to advance AB 2624, a bill critics have dubbed the Stop Nick Shirley Act. Nick Shirley is a citizen journalist who uncovered more than $110 million in Somali daycare fraud in Minnesota in December 2025. Empty facilities.
Now, what about the damn small heads committing fraud? But whatever.
Facilities billing taxpayers while children were nowhere to be found. In March 2026, he exposed another $170 million in similar fraud in California daycares and hospices. Ghost operations registered to empty lots and strip malls, billing the government. AB 2624 would make that kind of journalism effectively illegal. Investigators could face civil sanctions starting at $4,000 minimum, tripling to $12,000 if they refuse to remove the original video. In the most serious case, criminal charges and $10,000 fines for filming in public, for telling the truth. Instead of fixing the fraud, California wants to punish the people exposing it. The United Kingdom's Foreign Affairs?
Yeah, because they don't like the truth.
Committee has issued a formal recommendation: create a statutory government-funded national counter-disinformation center with the power to monitor, identify, and counter what officials define as false information online. The committee's report names Russia, China, Iran, and non-state actors like Daesh as threats. It warns that the UK is wide open to disinformation and calls the situation the new warfare. No one is disputing that foreign disinformation is real, but the question, the one that keeps getting skipped over, is who decides what's true? Which government agency gets to draw the line between disinformation and dissent, between a foreign influence operation and a journalist asking uncomfortable questions? A national counter-disinformation center would answer that question, and it would answer it on the behalf of the government. Now, back in America, in Massachusetts, lawmakers are advancing the Freedom to Move Act, legislation that would require the State Department of Transportation to establish official targets for reducing the number of miles that residents drive. Framed around climate goals, the bill proposes investments in trains, buses, ferries, and bikes as alternatives to personal vehicles. Supporters say it imposes no penalties and no direct limits, for now, but the principle being established that the government has a role in shaping and measuring how far its citizens travel in their own vehicles, well, that's a new one. And principles like technologies rarely stay where they start. So let's add it all up. A technology that can find you by your heartbeat. Body cameras that can scan your face without asking. Xbox.
But some, when it comes to that heartbeat detecting people and shit, they're gonna want the chip implant inside you.
Demanding
So they can ultimately, that's gonna be the real tracking device.
your passport. A bill that would require Apple and Google to verify every American's identity before they turn on a device. The FBI searching your emails without a warrant, and Congress preparing to let them keep doing it. A country where your beliefs could block you from buying a home. A law that would punish journalists for filming fraud in public. A government agency to decide what is true online, and legislation to track how far you drive. Each of these presented alone isn't even manageable or reasonable, but they're calling it a safety measure, a security upgrade, protecting children, fighting extremism, battling disinformation. Line them all up together, they form the architecture of something that has a name. It is a world where you are known, located, tracked, verified, and assessed before you are permitted. Where the right to speak, to own, to move, and to access the tools of modern life is conditional on compliance with systems you did not vote for and cannot fully see. The grid is not coming. The grid is being built right now in headlines most people scroll past without reading twice.
The surveillance right now is off the charts, and it's all in preparation for the tribulation period, most specifically right after the rapture. But those are your headlines.
Oh my goodness, this woman shut the fuck up about no rapture. There ain't no such thing as a fucking rapture. There will be a deliverance, but you got to go through this shit. It's called Jacob's trouble. The rapture. I'm like, oh my goodness. Anyway, Micah chapter 2 verse 1, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And they cover fields and take them by violence and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Yeah, this is planned out. And the Lord is going to allow these devils to do what they're meant to do, what they're created to do. Is bring in the new world order, the chip implant. And then, the Lord going to come and destroy this shit. But hey, don't you start to fucking bend the knee or go, I gotta say this. Don't be seeking Esau to save your ass. Seek Yahweh Shema Shah to save you from all this destruction. Because that's who's ultimately bringing all destruction, Yahweh Shema Shah. Let's get to the next video.
Well, a few years ago here on Redacted, we covered Sweden's bizarre microchip implanting story and their plan, which would have everyday citizens opting to have microchips implanted right into their bodies, right into their hands, the RFID or near-field communications chips, or NFC, basically the size of a grain of rice. And thousands of Swedes took the plunge. And since the story first published, many more thousands have taken the plunge. The idea is that the chips would speed up your users' daily life, make their lives more convenient, access their homes, office, gyms, just swipe it right on your door or keypad, and you're right in there. Here is one of the individuals lining up to get one of the chip implants, and just being able to get it poked right in the hands. Now, when the program started, the demand was off the charts. There were waiting lists. Companies could insert these things. They couldn't insert these things fast enough. And then shortly after it won high praise from the World Economic Forum.
Well, yeah.
Of course. But are these people going to say this is the mark of the beast? Because they don't say it on the title. This is MOTB related. But anyway, let me let it continue on. I might just let the whole video play.
I mean, if you want to track people and they let you,
Exactly.
that's on them.
So World Economic Forum's like, hey, this is great. And if you read the article, the World Economic Forum piece on this, they even point out that's no big deal. It's just like a simple, like a slight sting.
And that's what they gonna push it as. It's like, oh, it's just the size of a grain of rice. It's little. It's so small, but it's gonna bring big trouble to your ass. Massive trouble, huge trouble, pretty much death as an Israelite. But I don't know about no heathen. Well, heathen of death, but for Israelite, you got a choice of life or death. Don't you take this shit, or it's gonna lead you to death. Anyway, take my advice and seek the Lord and repent. That's life right there.
When you get it, no big deal.
Imagine telling our youngest, who hates shots,
Yeah.
you're just going to get this chip forever. It's only going to hurt for a little bit.
And we'll be able to track everything that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flash forward to 2026, and now these and where are things at with this program? We wanted to check in on this program, see how it's being floated for digital IDs, digital currency, how it's competing with the incredibly popular bank ID system in Sweden. It's very, very popular. It's almost at 100% usage, the bank ID system in Sweden. 100%, up to 8.7 million users.
See, this shit is tied in with your banking. They're buying and selling the money. They're going digital. They're getting rid of the physical currency with the digital currency. Can you connect the dots? Yeah, you better be. Yeah.
Now across the country, it's basically their dominant digital ID system. So is there a marriage between like implanting yourself with these chips and using the country's digital ID system? Forget cash, forget everything. It's all digital now.
Like I just said.
And all they want to do is track you. Well, today we're thrilled to have Maria Z joining us today to talk all about this from Z Media, and who's been watching, of course. She has very keen insights into watching how all of this tracking across these countries around Europe, through Australia, the United States, are unfolding, and watching this legislation that's been moving. Great to see you, Maria. Welcome back to the show.
Great, you both again. Thank you so much for inviting me. These particular chips, I will say from the outset, I'm not that worried about the microchips, and I'll explain why.
Really? Well, let's see what she got to say.
The uptake, yes, there were a few thousand people that rushed to do it in the beginning, but I think that pretty much after 2018, that slowed down a lot. There was the initial rush of, a few thousand that said, yeah, this is great, and we're probably paid to do it. But it's not something that's widely popular at this stage.
Not right now, but soon it will be critical and mandatory worldwide.
What I'm more concerned about, truthfully, is an admission from MIT that happened in November of 2025. So a publication from MIT News actually reads, quote, "New therapeutic brain implants could defy the need for surgery." Now, I'll read you a couple of quotes from this article. It is extremely alarming. MIT researchers developed microscopic wireless bioelectronics that could travel through the body's circulatory system and autonomously self-implant in a target region of the brain where they could provide, quote unquote, focused treatment, because it's about treating Alzheimer's and things of this nature, right? Not covert operations, everyone. In a study on mice, the researchers show that after injection, these minuscule implants can identify and travel to a specific...
Minuscule, that's small. Remember that, so it won't be it won't hurt you.
brain region without the need for human guidance. Once there, they can be wirelessly powered to provide electrical stimulation to the precise area. So a couple of things here. We're talking about self-assembling nanotechnology that can form brain implants that is, one, done through injection, so vaccines, and two, does not need any human intervention once it's been administered through the...
Oh man, they're trying to make it seem like it's wonderful for the people. It helps with the healing that you need. If you're in pain, you're suffering through issues mentally. But then they can use this as a weapon. And ultimately, that's what it's about, using it as a weapon. Yep.
quote-unquote vaccine. Now, we know, Clayton, that this is happening through geoengineering. Smart dust has been happening for a very, very long time. And we know that they can administer various types of nanotechnology that can be self-replicating, self-programming through vaccines and other medicines, and also potentially through our food. I'm actually far more concerned about the covert applications of this type of technology than I am about people going and implanting themselves. I dare say there could be quite a few people walking around with chips.
So I'm getting a chip implanted into my brain. There's a study happening in LA, and I'm going over there to get this chip implanted in my brain so that I can pay my rent. They're gonna compensate me heavily for my participation and all the data that they retrieve.
See, they looking for people like this dumbass bitch. That people, she getting a chip so she can get her rent paid, cause she can't pay her rent. Yeah. She ain't got the money, the funds, to afford all that shit. So now you get that chip. This is what the kind of people they look at. This is the kind of people they looking for. They expecting to come to those chipping stations, or just get the chip. Period. Get their brain chip or whatever kind of chip. Yeah.
So you're basically talking to a future robot.
Yeah, a future dumb nigga. A dumbass, you the dumbest robot ever. A cyborg. Anyway, back to this other video. Is it gonna play?
Already inside of them without knowing it's actually there.
Wait, what is smart dust that you mentioned?
Smart dust.
Oh, these niggas know what the fuck that is. Yeah, I had talked about this shit earlier about smart dust shit.
They've been geoengineering for a very, very long time, as you both know. Smart dust is essentially programmable dust. This is something that is not detected through the human eye. People talk about how it forms structures even on their walls. I mean, there's a lot of anecdotal information about what smart dust has achieved, but basically when you're talking about the various chemicals that they're spraying, and that also, by the way, includes graphene, Dane Wigington has done independent testing of soil.
They got a whole bundle of shit inside that damn clouds of chemtrails that they spray. A whole bunch of shit. They like, we ain't gonna just spray this in one day and this. No, we're gonna spray it all at once. Fuck that shit.
And air and things of this nature, and found graphene immediately present after geoengineering has occurred. When you look at what they refer to when it comes to graphene, they say that it's essentially a miracle component that they have started using in medicine. And you'd recall Albert Bourla talking about how, you know, in the future we're going to have these pills that people can take, and they'll tell us whether the person's taken it, what it's doing inside of their bodies. That, of course, is achieved through graphene.
Yeah, that shit right there. That shit remind me of some that weird looking shit on that, what's that game called Control? It was like some black stuff. And it forms in a different shapes and shit. And it try to hurt you.
Graphene, because it is highly conductive, it is able to send a message back to them.
That what it shit look like.
And it's no secret, this isn't a conspiracy.
I don't know, you going, it's like you'll come across a thing, anything will try to follow you and try to kill you.
See,
It's
theory.
like some kind of dark matter.
Albert Bourla himself has spoken about their ability to do this. There's been a lot of talk back and forward as to whether they can achieve this through geoengineering or vaccines or things of this nature. Their literature absolutely says that it can, and these studies go back decades.
Yeah, here's just an example of some of the graphene oxide being manipulated using different frequencies. So this is exactly what individuals like Dane Wigington have been talking about, David Icke, the manipulation of graphene oxide that's in our bodies, these nanoparticles that can be manipulated.
And if it's so much in your body, hey, it's in your veins, it's a shit. They can make you do anything. And when we need the Lord, man, I'm telling you, this is no joke. Esau Edom, the so-called white man, but he ain't white, he's red. He's a baby dick sucking Jewish faggot nigger, is a damn devil. He's a fucking monster, and he needs to be stopped. They weren't bullshitting with those TV shows, movies, and video games, and cartoons, comic books of the mad scientists. Being always Esau, the so-called white man, Amalek, Frankenstein, all that bullshit. It's always that nigga. And they try to make it seem like, oh, he just a mad scientist. Oh no, look at this nigga. Look what he got in real life. Shit that he trying to control you against your. And basically, he want to be a god. He want to be a god, plain and simple.
Been moved. So I think you're right. I think you're hitting on something, because when you look at just the thousands of people that have like willingly put these microchips in their hands, that's a small percentage. But
yeah, but when it comes to something big like a brain chip or that graphene shit, yeah, that's something else.
So many people have this in their bodies because of geoengineering, because of what they're spraying in our skies, and because.
Hey man, let me get the scripture before they change the subject. I don't know, but let me get this, because stuff like that is in people's bodies, and they've been like brothers have been preaching about it, talk about it in their videos, and then you had conspiracy theory, but truthers. Yeah, I say truthers. They've been speaking about stuff like that, like Dabu 7 and such. Yeah, this shit is real. And what it be real is getting right with the Lord, man, before shit gets crazy out here. Matthew chapter 24, verse 21, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. And except those days be short, there should no flesh be saved. Yeah, there ain't no flesh gonna be saved when you got shit like this in your bloodstreams. And man, Esau is the ultimate nigger. He's always been that nigger, and he has to be stopped, bro. Shit, before this happens, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect say them days shall be short. So the Lord speeding up the time for his people, the elect of Israel, to be saved out of here before Esau pump everybody with all that little gooey black stuff and shit, and microchips and all whatever hell else. But it's really the elect. Really, it ain't about everybody. Damn sure ain't about everybody like the heathens. Fuck no. It's only about the elect of Israel
Of these COVID jabs.
that's gonna be saved.
Yes, let me give you some really shocking information. You may know about this. A lot of people don't, actually. So I spoke to Nick Holscher a little while ago, prominent epidemiologist, after I learned about what MIT had admitted here, and asked him whether it was possible that they already covertly did this through the COVID injections. He said, definitely possible. There is some evidence to suggest that they did. But there is another very, very important puzzle piece here, and it comes to us from Bar Ilan University, that's Barilan University in Israel, and their chief scientist, Ido Bachelet, was actually presenting a TED Talk all the way back in 2013, and he basically said at that time we can implant. He said that we can implant hundreds of billions, or 1,000 billion, I think he said, nanorobots into a vaccine. He proudly held up a vaccine during that TED Talk. I've done a whole expose on this. He then said in his presentation that people can, they can ensure that they don't quote unquote lose control of the nanorobots after they've been injected into people. He stated that the controller is connected to the internet, and I quote, like an Xbox. He then said that the controller actually links these nanobots to the network, that they have an IP address, and that they can be accessed remotely. He bragged about how they can control these nanobots, like with a joystick, to release payloads into humans. This TED Talk happened in 2013. Now, here's the kicker. In 2015, Pfizer announced their partnership with Ido Bachelet of Bar Ilan University, who already had this tech. So my point is that while I, of course...
What are he doing? He making that... facial expression.
Concerned about people willingly implanting themselves, and I do believe free will plays a part in the control of the tech.
That shit is the will of the Lord.
Technocrats. I am very concerned about what covert operations and covert applications have on. I'm concerned about those impacts on the population, and you only need to look at something like Bill Gates' patent 060606. Yes, that's real. Everyone, please go and look up patent 060606, and you will see that the plan is to actually be able to mine cryptocurrency with your body's data. Well, how would they do that? They need some sort of sensors, conductors inside of us, feeding information back to the data centers through quantum technology. And by the way, Bill Gates is also developing the quantum dot microneedle patch. We can talk about that.
Yeah. Psalm chapter 64, verse 5. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. Shit. They're close to their godlike status. They're close to their godlike status, and the Lord is giving them the knowledge and the know-how, getting close to it by using technology, but it ain't gonna last long. But God Yahweh shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be found wounded. Yup. So they shall make their own tongues fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. Yeah, and you can see she giving out, she talking about this information. And what's her name? Clayton and Natalie. They appear to look like so-called people of other nations. Like, I don't know what Natalie is. She Chinchon? I don't know. I'm gonna say she's fucking heathens. I don't know. I can tell Edomites. She appear to look like Edomite. I don't know, but they are talking about this stuff. And you better take heed, because this is critical to know, and plus to get to know Yahweh Shema Rashad. Because it's happening. There's no fucking no more saying that, oh, this is gonna be before, this is gonna be happening after I die. No, nigga, it's happening now. I mean, if you really believe this is gonna be after you die, the Lord can make this happen before you die. You can go ahead and kill your ass where you at. 1 second, but less than a second, And you ain't have to worry about this shit anymore.
Which is real-time data being sent to the powers that be of everything that's going on inside of your body at any given time. And also, of course, your ability to bank, aka mine cryptocurrency, with your body's data, which will tell the powers that be if you are being compliant or not.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a transhumanist agenda. How far do you...
They ain't mentioning nothing about this being biblical. They're not mentioning anything about the Bible at all. No, not at all.
You think that they will...
And they know it, because they know these niggas been listening to the prophets. Shit, of Yahweh Shema Rashad.
Take it. I mean, we see evidence of this every single day, of the desire to continuously break down the human elements of our lived experience.
And like I said, I ain't heard nothing about the Bible yet.
but only for us, not for the elites. And, you know, can you play out how far they want to take it?
Yeah, it's always for safety.
Yes, you only need to look to the government of Canada to see how far they want to take it. They published something,
Killing
Policy
you.
Horizons. Well,
Yeah.
right, no, but they actually published something, Policy Horizons published something called Biodigital Convergence. It's an official publication from the government of Canada, and they give you some fictional scenarios in there, but it's absolutely where they want to take it. And they say that we're going to live in a future where you wake up in the morning and the AI that is connected to you through sensors inside your body, which of course are enabled through self-assessment.
You remember Elon Musk talked about this shit some years back, talking about in order to keep up with AI and adapt with AI, you got to get the chip implant, get down with transhumanism, get the brain chip or whatever kind of chip it is, as long as it's inside your ass. Yep, and that shit is at the door. It's at the door. You better be calling on the Lord and repenting.
Assembling nanotechnology, which can happen covertly. That AI, you wake up, the AI will say, okay, you're missing this vitamin or this nutrient, and then it's going to 3D print it from your counter and give you what you need based on what the AI has assessed that you need. They say that the UN, actually, their publication, Remaking the World Towards an Age of Global Enlightenment, it's the Boston Global Forum that's published it, but they're part of the UN. They say that although we're not going to have a social credit system in like China, but you will only be rewarded with cryptocurrency if you do things that are, you know, acceptable inside the AI world society. So in other words, if you don't live the way we want you to, you will not have access to any currency, and your own body will betray you by the use of patent 0606, of course.
Unbelievable. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And I guess I'm heartened in one way. It's we're not getting, the government is not forcing people.
And they still haven't mentioned anything about the Bible. What is this connected to? This sounds like Mark of the Beast type of prophecies. Yeah.
To get these implants, but they're doing it in far more nefarious ways, which is spraying our skies with it so that they're able to manipulate us through 6G technology and otherwise. So they don't need us. They don't need us to go down to the clinic and get a microchip in our hand. Yeah.
There's part of me that's
No, they still want you to get the microchip in your hand. They still do. They still want to get in your brain, your head. They don't give a fuck. They want to make sure you got enough crap inside your body as possible. Microscopic fucking chips. They don't care. They want the big shit inside you too. They want you to be a fucking bitch to them, a digital bitch. Shit.
also anxietized about having old technology.
So don't say, well, then we ain't got to worry about no damn implants because the smart is already taking over. No, cause see, these niggas like this will like to eliminate. Or what's the point of having a market of beast when we already chip with the cell phone? No, it's not inside of you, nigga. It's not inside of you. And hey, guess what? You can still buy and sell without your fucking cell phone. Shit. You can buy and sell. Cash still exists. Physical cash still exists. Yeah. So let's not get it twisted.
Like if you're gonna give me, how fast technology evolves, like I don't want an iPhone 5 inside. How are we gonna make sure?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You don't want an iPhone 5. Shit. Don't worry. You'll have an iPhone 20. Shit. You'll have a more updated version, iPhone 5. Why would you say iPhone 5 for? That's slow. Shit.
You're like, Natalie, she's got an iPhone 3GS in her hand.
Yeah, I mean, how are they going to make sure they continuously
For
upgrade
real? Damn, that's old.
me if I do become a transhumanist experiment?
I will just end on this. I truly do believe, and I believe that the quote-unquote elites believe that our free will actually does matter. And although they do, the revelation of...
Hey, you don't have no free will. I mean, to some degree, but it's ultimately the will of Yahweh Shema Shah. And the Lord gonna make this happen. And a lot of people, if you're not of his elect, if you're not written in the book of life, guess what? You gonna get that chip. You gonna get that chip, or you might not get that chip. And you ain't repented to the Lord, and you ain't get that chip, the Lord might allow you to survive till the missile come. You still get destroyed by the missiles or get judgment, even if you don't get the chip implant. But your stubborn ass ain't bothered to repent. That's the problem.
the method.
But there's no hope for you heathens, just to let you know that.
Tell us what they're doing beforehand, and if we don't, push back, then that's sort of our consent. I don't think that if you are a human being that is aware of this information, which is why it's so important that you're both covering this, if you're someone that's aware of this and internally your free will says, I'm not participating, for them and their occult mad rituals, that actually means something. And so the more informed that we are, the better off we are, and the more we can not consent to this madness.
Yeah.
Maria Z from Z Media, always great to see you. Thank you so
Yeah, she is right. It is madness, but it's all prophecy too. So seek the Lord. I get that last one with this one brother. Man, this is coming down the pipe.
global mayhem, that what is happening in Iran and the Middle East gives the global cult everything it wants. The Strait carries the fertilizer components that underpin roughly half the world's food supply. Some countries are already starting to run short of fuel and energy.
I just remember, I never played this video or watched this video before. This is my first time.
This reminds you of it.
Oh, by the way, let me go ahead and hit it. Dang it. Hit the title of the video. There go bruh channel. GMS dedication. Let's get back to it.
The International Energy Agency says work from home, reduce highway speed limits, avoid air travel, shift from private cars to buses and trains, alternate private car access on different days. What a coincidence. Major cities have been putting up number plate cameras. They say for another reason, but they're there. We might as well use them for this now. But if you go to that level, what's happening is exactly what it wants, to trash the old system. So the new system of AI.
And it's leading people to this new system. Get rid of the old one and give people hell and make life a living hell for the people. And meanwhile, they're building up a new fucking system that you're going to have to be living under while you're struggling, paying high bills, prices on this and that, and people being distracted on bread and circus and all that other shit. Anyway.
Human fusion and absolute control can take...
It's going to lead to the chip implants.
Its place. Cheers, Don. Nice one, mate.
Some Handmaid's Tale shit. Oh, it is Handmaid's Tale shit. Damn. It says that there is there is more than one kind of freedom, said Aunt Linda. Freedom to and freedom from in the days of anarchy. It was freedom to. Now you are being given freedom from. Don't underrate it. Isaiah chapter 10 verse was it 1? Yeah, 1 and 3. What sorrows await the unjust judges? And that be hold on, I gotta sneeze. Damn. That'd be Esau, Edom, Amalek. Anyway, and those who issue unfair laws. Esau, Edom, so-called white man, but he ain't white. He's red. He's a baby dick sucking Jewish fucking nigger, Amalek. Anyway, I ain't gonna read it. I'm just gonna let it play. Cause I'm gonna be making a video too long if I start reading.
It is now in order to consider amendment number 1, printed in Part B of House Report 119-462. For what purpose does the gentleman from Kentucky seek recognition?
Mr. Chair, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk shall designate the amendment.
Amendment number 1, printed in Part B of House Report number 119-462, offered by Mr. Massey of Kentucky.
Pursuant to House Resolution 1014, the gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Massey, and the member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Kentucky.
Mr. Chair, I rise in support of our amendment. This is co-sponsored by Mr. Perry from Pennsylvania and Mr. Roy from Texas. And I regret that we have to offer this amendment. What I'm going to describe will probably sound like a bad science fiction movie, but that's what's written into law. Right now in law, that's going to be implemented it says for 2026 and beyond. Now, the reality is the technology doesn't exist, but that doesn't keep legislators from imagining things that they would like to do to infringe on civil liberties. But there is a law that states that every vehicle manufactured is going to have a kill switch in it. The car itself will monitor your driving, and if the car thinks that you're not doing a good job driving, it will disable itself. So the car dashboard becomes your judge, your jury, and your executioner. Imagine this. We got a snowstorm coming. A mom takes her kids out. They're going to the grocery store. It's snowing. They're trying to get some groceries before the big storm hits. She swerves for a pothole. The neighbor's pet gets in the way, swerves for that. First responder goes by. She pulls over. Her car says, "You got one more swerve, and then we're going to ground you." There it is. The next thing she has to avoid, an icy patch in the road. The car has adjudicated her as unsuitable for driving. It disables the vehicle, and there she's stranded. My question is, how do you appeal your sentence? Once your car, the technology in your car, has judged you to be incapable of driving. Once it's disabled you and your children at the side of the road, how do you appeal that? Do you press a button on the dashboard? Do you start talking to an AI? What if it really was somebody who was struck?
I like that movie Mercy. Shit.
Are you really going to send a police car after this? Disabled vehicle? Do we have the resources to do that? There's going to be so many false positives. The technology is unworkable. That's why the DOT is still in the rulemaking process, asking for feedback on how this thing could even exist. And it's just a bad idea, but it's in law, and so our amendment would defund that. And with that, I'd like to reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, drunk driving is a serious problem, but 31 states already have the technology to keep drunk drivers off of the road with ignition interlock devices that they can mandate. And this technology that's in the law is not going to fix the drunk driving problem. With that, I'd like to yield 2 minutes to my friend from Pennsylvania, Mr. Perry.
The gentleman from Pennsylvania is yielded 2 minutes.
I thank the gentleman for Kentucky for his work on this, and of course the chairman of the full committee for the hard work on appropriations. Look, none of us want to be on the road with drunk drivers, and of course this was a solution intended to deal with them, and all of us want them to be dealt with. But I'm going to remind everybody, as my friend from Kentucky just said, there is already legislation in multiple states, dozens of states, that deal with drunk drivers through the ignition interlock system. Probably in your family somewhere, someone you know, you've dealt with this. I know in my family and the people I know, I've dealt with it. But here's what I don't want to see in America: everybody being punished for the people that drink and drive, including the ones that don't drink and drive. I happen not to drink, but I'm going to be forced to have this thing in my car, and I'm going to tell you what's next. After what Thomas said, after what Representative Massey said, the car is going to be the judge, jury, and sentencer for your crime in the car. The next thing is going to be, well, we need to hook this thing up to the government so we can dispatch the police. I'm just going to tell you what's going to happen next. They're going to be shutting your car off when they decide whatever they decide from wherever they decided. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about what you think about due process and the Constitution and the Fourth Amendment and the right to not be imposed upon by illegal, unlawful search and seizure, but punishing everybody for this crime, whether they've committed it or not, if they're going to commit it or not, should be unconstitutional. This shouldn't really be a question. We all want to get to the problem, and we're happy to work with everybody on all sides to deal with it. But you cannot convict, and punish everybody in the country for the sake of the ones that do things that they shouldn't do. And with that, I yield the balance to the gentleman from Kentucky.
The gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
Last time we offered this amendment, it had bipartisan support. I urge my colleagues to vote for this amendment. It would defund an unconstitutional and unworkable mandate that has already missed the deadlines. And with that, I yield back.
Come on! No! Now imagine there was an emergency outside the truck, an accident, something terrible on the ranch with a chainsaw. And I jump in this truck, but the truck, it won't shift into drive. Why? Because the cameras and sensors inside this cab won't let it shift, because it detects my eyes are big, there's a lot of emotion, there's some panic, and it doesn't feel that I'm fit to drive. Now that's not science fiction, that is happening because Ford just filed the patents. Ford actually has a series of patents down at the U.S. Patent and Trade Office that deal with the sensors and cameras inside the cab of their truck. And if the sensors in that truck determine that you're not fit to drive, that truck will not actually shift from park to drive. Now, they already have a system called telematics, and that's where they can actually pull up cameras in real time inside the cab of their fleet vehicles. Now, they actually market this to insurance companies, because the truth is, this is really about who owns the data and who owns the liability. Now, your name might actually be on the title of this truck, and you may have paid for it, but you don't own it. Now, Ford didn't file just one patent. They filed a stack of them, all within months of each other. Are you sitting down? Get this. This Ford technology patent doesn't just watch you. This one puts you in jail. Ford filed a patent, serial number 0104469, where the system takes your biometric data, your face, your iris, and your fingerprint, and it runs it through a criminal database in real time. While you're sitting in your own truck, think about what that means. You wake up one morning, you walk out to your driveway, you climb into a vehicle with your name on the title, on property with your name on the deed. And before you go anywhere, before you've done a single thing wrong, your truck is already running your face through a law enforcement database. Ford's own patent language describes this as potentially useful for police. They wrote that. Ford wrote that into the patent application. So the question isn't whether this technology can be abused. Ford already told you who it's for. You just didn't know that you were buying a cop car. Now I'm going to walk you through a few of these patents. Lip reading, cameras inside your cab, machine learning trained on lip movement datasets. Cloud connected, your face processed somewhere you'll never see, stored as long as they want. Acoustic lip reading, if the cameras aren't enough, the system emits inaudible sound waves and reads the echoes bouncing off of your mouth. You can't see it, it's just happening. Biometrics, your face, fingerprint, iris, filed February 2024, and it was published August 2025. This one is assigned a serial number because it's real. Ad listening. This is scary. It monitors conversations between everyone in the cab. It serves targeted ads based on what you and others are talking about while you're driving. In Ford's words, maximum opportunity for ad-based monetization. No description of how that data is protected either. None. How about Ford Pro Telematics? Now this one isn't a patent. This one is actually a product page. Right now, fleet managers can pull live in-cabin video feeds of drivers on their phones. Ford markets seatbelt compliance alerts with the explicit benefit of lowering insurance costs. They said it themselves. This is the infrastructure, and once the infrastructure exists, it's going to get used and abused. Now, Ford isn't alone in this. This is an arms race. Smart Eye driver monitoring software is already in over 2 million cars globally. The EU's general safety regulation mandates drowsiness systems as standard equipment going forward. GM deployed biometric seat sensors and heart rate monitoring in production trucks.
Basically, the world that they want for most people is going to look something like this.
Good morning, citizens. Your overnight account balances have been updated. Time to start a productive day. Final notice, your account balance is below 500. You need 50 credits by the end of the day to avoid automatic eviction. If you have missed work due to illness, you must provide a doctor's note to reclaim your credits.
Any extra credits? Please.
Tensions are high today, with more people planning to join the Citizens Against Digital Control protest. Remember, the government knows who you are at all times. Resisting is not worth the consequences. All of their newest social credit systems are designed to keep you and your family safe and efficient.
Authorities seized a record balance of an individual's credits, citing excessive hoarding.
Traffic violation detected. 7 miles per hour over the limit. 75 credits have been automatically deducted.
You have to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, she shouldn't have been deducted for that language, too. Just like in that movie, Demolition Man. Jordan Spartan, you have been citation with blah, 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 blah. Shit.
Yep, you got the flu. Your blood work shows a significant iron deficiency. I recommend incorporating more red meat into your diet.
Dr. Jones, your taxes were not filed and have been automatically deducted.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell nah. I paid that bill. What the fuck?
Deducted with late fees. Your medical license has been revoked.
Oh, hell nah. I filed an extension.
He ain't say it like I said it. But, of course, he's like, oh, hell nah. Yeah.
Purchase denied. Monthly red meat allowance exceeded. Try mealworms instead.
Yeah, you eat the bugs. Hey, funny, they got, when I was working at the grocery store, a part-time job, sometimes I'll be working at the pet aisle, like dogs and cats, and it's the little section they'll have a rack, a shelf with like other stuff like like goldfish food or fish food, and I even have bird food like mealworms. Soon, them same mealworms won't be in the pet aisle; they'll be in the daggone, the meat department or the grain department. Like they're selling the lane where they're selling rice and shit. Yeah, they'll be selling mealworms in multiple departments. Heck yeah, mealworm cereal, mealworm juice, shit, mealworm milk, cockroach titty milk. Heck yeah, man, we gotta get the fuck out of here. This fucking nigger, goddamn Esau, Amalek.
Can you guys please let me through? Attention, unauthorized political gathering detected. Participants' access to financial services has been suspended.
Hey, she don't want to get fined for that shit. She's like, man, let me get my ass in the car.
Due to the speeding infraction, your car will be immobilized for 3 days.
Fuck you! Take your surveillance policies and rot in hell!
You've
And he like, gotcha, bitch.
earned 50 bonus credits for reporting your neighbor's hateful misconduct. This content exceeds your current social credit tier. May we suggest citizen responsibility?
Yeah, that is what they want. Now, will they get it? That's still to be seen.
Hey, what is it? In all his such a time of terror. It will be a time of trouble. Yeah, talking about Jacob trouble for my people. Yet the end there will be saved. Yeah, 'cause we need salvation. We don't deserve it, but we sure do pray and yearn for it. Because if we stay here any longer, man, the Lord allowed us to continue on, we'll all be dead. Everything else will be dead. What is it, 2nd Ezra chapter 14? I don't know, I think this is 1. For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. For look, how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein. For the time is fled far away, and leasing is hard at hand. For now hasteth the vision to come, which thou hast seen.
Where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is giving me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally. Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, you can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
And that chip's connected to a database that has your purchasing records, what you do.
Everything is in there. You know? And so they want a one world government controlled by them, everybody being chipped, all your money in those chips, and they control the chips, and they control people, and you become a slave, you become a serf to these people. That's their goal, that's their intentions.
Yep. Yeah, I had some songs, theme songs I want to listen to, some conquering type music.
Global.
Get the power. I'll be willing to hear some epic, daggone conquering type music. You know, something that's dramatic. Dum 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 dum. You know that shit. Anyway, that's all I got. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3. For the vision is yet for the appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Yeah, won't tarry. The visions, the prophecies. The prophecies that the prophets are telling y'all, and then, hey, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah. Yeah, we ain't making this stuff up. The Lord is making these things happen. And if you can't see it, there's something wrong with your ass. Because, I mean, it's, hey, but the end it shall speak. And it's speaking loud and clear. So if you got an ear, you better hear and pay attention and take heed and seek the prophets, the men of the Lord, the prophets of Yahweh Shema Shah, because we're the ones delivering this message. Yeah. So take heed to what they say and try to build a spiritual mental relationship with Yahweh Shema Shah by praying Yahweh Shema Shah, praising Yahweh Shema Shah, worshiping Yahweh Shema Shah, fearing Yahweh Shema Shah, and repenting to Yahweh Shema Shah. To all the men out there pushing this truth and nothing but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Shema Shah. Keep on preach, keep on teach, keep your faith and trust on Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble. And for you few sisters out there taking heed, keep your faith and trust on Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble, stay in order with your man. If you ain't got no man, stay in order Yahweh Shema Shah. Peace and bless to the hopeful elect and all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Shalom.